Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at if you can solve this riddle, you're a psychopath. But before we get into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? First off, we have the note. Now, this is a detective riddle which only a criminal mastermind would be able to work out. One day, a very rich man had been taken from his house. A detective gets to the scene of the crime and finds a note on the floor. This is his only clue at the crime scene. Now, the note says 1st of January, 4th of October, 5th of March, and 3rd of June. That's all it says, and it doesn't provide any more information than that. But the detective somehow knew that the kidnapper's name was in this note. But it was encrypted within this mysterious and seemingly nonsensical message. The detective also had 3 suspects who all could be the kidnapper. One of them is named Jack, and he's the son of the guy who was kidnapped. The next person is named John, and he's an employee of the person who was kidnapped. And the last person is named June, and she's the wife of the person who's been kidnapped. So I'll give you guys a few seconds on screen right now to try and work out who the kidnapper is. Is it Jack, John, or June? Use the note as a clue. Okay guys, did you work out who's the kidnapper? Was it Jack the son, John the employee, or June the wife? Well guys, in case you didn't get it, I'll reveal the answer right now. The kidnapper was John the employee. All you have to do is read the note. But when you're reading it, you really need to think outside the box. Let's look at the first line, 1st of January. For the 1st of January, you need to look at the first letter in January, which is a J. Then for the 4th of October, you need to look at the 4th letter in October, which is an O. For the 5th of March, look at the 5th letter in March, which is an H. And for the 3rd of June, look for the 3rd letter in June, which is an N. Of course, J-O-H-N makes John. So that clue led the detective to John the employee, and he was found to be the kidnapper. If you got this right, then you're a great detective and a criminal mastermind too. But don't think you're a psychopath just yet. Try and work out the next 2 riddles on the list. The next riddle we have is Bad Apple. One day a woman invited her friend over for dinner. She made a delicious pot roast and they thoroughly enjoyed it. Then for dessert, she got an apple and cut it into 2 halves. She gave one half of the apple to her friend with some whipped cream. She then gave herself the other half of the apple and put the cream in a different bowl. She then ate her piece of the apple and her friend ate the other half. But it was later found that her friend had passed away from poisoning. But how did the host survive despite them eating the same apple? Remember, even though they ate 2 different halves, it was still the same apple, so why did her friend pass but not her? I'll give you guys a bit of time on screen right now to try and work it out. Well guys, in case you didn't get this, I'll give you the answer right away. The reason why her friend passed away from poisoning but she didn't was because the poison was in the whipped cream. The devil's really in the detail here. Remember, she served the whipped cream up on her friend's apple. But with her apple, she didn't have any, she simply put it in a separate bowl. This is something that actually happens in lots of real life crimes. It's called misdirection, and it's where the criminal tries to act smart. They basically direct detectives to something else which seems suspicious but isn't. This then makes them look innocent, when really they've actually done a crime in a totally different area. In this case, the misdirection was in the apple, but the real crime was poisoning the whipped cream. If you got this one right and the note, then you're a great detective and criminal mastermind. But to prove you're really a psycho, you need to solve this final riddle. And that riddle goes by the name of 2 funerals. Usually if you get a riddle right, you may feel you're very intelligent. But if you get this one right, maybe you need to take a trip to the therapist. Well, here it is. One day at her own mother's funeral, a woman meets a guy she doesn't know. She instantly falls in love with the guy and thinks he's her dream man. However, she forgets to ask for the man's name or phone number. Afterwards, she tries to find out who he was, but to no avail. Then 2 days later, the girl takes her own sister's life. But why does she do it? You may be wondering, there's literally no reason why this girl would have taken her own sister's life, but there's a very good reason only a psycho will guess. I'll give you guys, some time on screen right now to try and work this out. Okay guys, did you figure it out? If you didn't, then good, that means you're not a psychopath. But any psycho would get this answer, and that is that the girl took her sister's life because she hoped the mystery guy would show up at her sister's funeral. That's right, she hoped this mystery guy would show up at her sister's funeral and then they'd be able to get a relationship going. Psychopaths only care about themselves and don't take others' feelings into account. That's why she would think nothing about taking her sister's life simply so she could have the love of her life. Many people wouldn't get this, as you may think, why would you take someone's life simply to see a guy you like? But to any psychos, this would be very obvious. So if this came obviously to you and you haven't heard this riddle before, then that's a bad warning sign. According to the magazine Psychology Today, only 1% of the population are psychopaths. But that still means there's over 7 million psychopaths in the world. That's every zodiac sign has an addiction. Find out yours. Coming up first, we have Aries. If you were born between the 21st of March and the 19th of April, then your star or zodiac sign will be Aries. So if you were born in Aries, then what is your addiction? Well, Aries are addicted to one thing, and that is dopamine. But what exactly is dopamine? Well, dopamine is a chemical that occurs in your brain, also known as the brain's feel-good chemical. This is basically something that releases out into your brain, making it feel good instantly. Many people get this from instant gratification. For example, if your Instagram photo gets a lot of likes, you get instant gratification. Or when you're gambling at a casino and get a big win, that's also instant gratification and it gives you a dopamine rush. But the number one way dopamine is created is through adrenaline. That means if you're an Aries, you're likely a risk taker. People who take lots of risks have less dopamine receptors. This means they need to do more extreme things to get that dopamine rush. New and exciting things will feed in Aries' addiction to dopamine and adrenaline. Aries love challenges and also taking risks. And this doesn't always have to be something dangerous. Sure, many Aries do love skydiving or quad biking, but they may also take things like a financial risk, such as starting a business. But be warned, because of this risk-taking, Aries are also prone to some bad things. Because they want instant gratification, they're more likely to cheat on their partners. Not only that, they may be addicted to doing things such as drinking a lot or gambling. That's because they want to take risks and feel as good as possible. They may also like extreme activities like free jumping and other dangerous things to give them an adrenaline rush. Next up is Taurus. If you were born between April 20th and May 20th, then you have the Taurus zodiac sign. Tauruses are known for being addicted to luxury. But I don't mean luxury items like you would buy in a store. Instead, they like luxury experiences which indulge their senses. Whether it's indulging their smells, tastes, touches, or anything else, they love it. Now, this may be something like delicious and expensive food at a posh restaurant. They also like things like spa days, massages, and luxury brand candles. For a Taurus, crawling into some newly freshly washed bedding is a dream. They also love flowers and other natural smelling things, which also look great too. Tauruses are also more likely to spend money on expensive headphones or sound systems to indulge their ears. Unlike an Aries, they don't take too many risks. Instead, they love to indulge themselves. If you're a Taurus, you likely love to relax and take it easy. And you feel no guilt whatsoever about taking a me day and pampering yourself all day long. Next up is Gemini. Geminis are born between May the 21st and June the 20th. But what are Geminis addicted to? Well, it's actually a pretty good addiction, and that is communication. Geminis are usually social extroverts. This means they are not shy and love to meet and talk to people. They're never afraid to give their opinion and comment on things which are going on. And in the 21st century, the number one thing Geminis love to do is social media. If you're a Gemini and love going on social media, this makes sense. And a Gemini's favorite kind of social media is likely going to be Twitter. That is because they love to give their opinions and comment on what's going on right now. They also love talking to many people and also talking to people in public open spaces. They thrive at social dinners and parties and do not find it difficult to meet new people. Some say Geminis actually love communicating online even more than in real life. Geminis may spend so much time on social media it cuts into their sleep time at night. This then reduces the amount of people they'll talk to in real life, but they don't mind as they love social media. They may also date using Tinder or an app where you can talk to multiple people at the same time. One person simply isn't enough for a Gemini and they like to speak to as many people as they can at once. Coming up next is Cancer. If you were born between June the 21st and July the 22nd, then your zodiac sign is Cancer. Now, Cancer isn't exactly a good name for a zodiac sign, and their addiction is not good either. Ironically, it's not cigarettes. What Cancers are addicted to is people who are not good for them. Cancers are not so attracted to finding that perfect man or woman. Instead, they like finding a bad boy or girl and then fixing them up. Cancers also love to be in relationships even if their partners aren't good for them. Even if their partners screw up all the time, they're not going to dump them and they'll try and stay with them and mend them. Even if all their friends see that it's never going to work before they've even started dating, they'll always try and make the relationship work no matter what. The good thing about this is Cancers believe their love is so strong it can fix anything or anyone. But of course there are downsides to this, and if you're a Cancer you need to look out for if your relationship is not going well. Your partner may not be putting in 100% while you are, and that's a bad thing. Or you need to assess the relationship and confront them and tell them what's not working. Next up is Leo. If you're a Leo, then you're born between July the 23rd and August the 22nd. And the addiction of a Leo is actually pretty good. That is to be the center of attention and to have everyone admiring them at all times. Now you may think this is kind of narcissistic and not a good trait to have. But it's actually pretty good, as it means you likely have a captivating personality that people are drawn to. If you don't, then you're not a good Leo, as Leos are addicted to attention. If you're in high school with a Leo, then they love drama. You could be having a totally peaceful time, but they'll make some drama with someone just to keep things interesting and to keep them the center of attention. At parties, Leo likes to talk to everyone and always brings the best gift, so everyone looks at them and pays attention. They also like to dress up a lot and never go out anywhere without a full outfit on. You won't ever see a Leo just wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, even if it's just going down to the store. They love to look good and also be the center of attention, as they're addicted to attention. Next up is Virgo. If you're born between August the 23rd and September the 22nd, then you're a Virgo. And the addiction of a Virgo can actually be very helpful in your life. That is because Virgos are addicted to being smart. Now, this doesn't mean every Virgo is a super genius, but they sure like to be. Virgos love knowledge and learning. They're often very quick learners and can retain lots of information, meaning they do very well on school tests. Even if they don't know something, they like to appear to be the smartest person in the room and may pretend they know something about it. Instead of knowing a lot about a little, they prefer to know a little about a lot. That's because they don't only love to know things, they love to tell everyone else what they know. There's nothing better to a Virgo than showing off all of their knowledge and learning. They likely never skip a college lecture. And if you check out their phone, there's probably some kind of quiz or trivia games on there. They also love doing quizzes in class, and if they play Kahoot, they'll always want to come number one. This addiction is actually good, as it means they have a great attention to detail, they're fast learners, and they can retain lots of information. They also love careers that test their knowledge, such as being a teacher or a lawyer. Next up is Libra. If you're born between September 23rd and October 22nd, then you're a Libra. A Libra's addiction is similar to a Gemini's because it involves their phones. And that is because the number one addiction for Libras is addiction to their cell phones. They don't just love what's on their phones, they also like to personalize their cell phones with cases and other accessories. They love apps like social media and dating apps, but that's not all they like. They also use their phone for other things, such as when they're feeling awkward. When they're in a room and they don't have anyone to talk to, they likely whip out their phone and then use it or pretend to use it. This means they can still act cool and also check their social media and text their friends. Libras are always on their phones day and night. And they also love new apps and keep up with all the online trends. Whenever a new model of phone comes out, they have to have it, even if it means breaking the bank. Coming up next is Scorpio. If you're born between October 23rd and November 21st, then you're a Scorpio. Well, Scorpios are addicted to one thing, and that is love. Scorpios are very passionate and they love to love in all senses of the word. They're not afraid to start getting physical as soon as you begin dating. They're also very intuitive and they know what their partner wants and needs. If you're in a relationship with a Scorpio, this is usually a great thing. But be warned, Scorpios can sometimes be promiscuous, meaning they're more likely to cheat than other star signs. But because of their intuition, they also know what their partner wants and needs. Next up is Sagittarius. If you're born between November 22nd and December 21st, then you're a Sagittarius. Sagittariuses are addicted to new things. But I don't mean physical things, I mean new experiences and challenges. Sagittariuses hate being in one place for too long. They love to travel and they also hate to sit still in class or in an office. They enjoy stimulation and seeing new things like meeting new people, trying new experiences, or seeing new places. They hate to feel like they're missing out on anything, and that's why they try and experience as much as they can of the world. The more things they see and people they meet, the better. And even if it means breaking the bank, they'll always find the money to go on a trip and travel the world, or just go to a new place. They're also often extroverts socially and love to meet new people and are not shy. Next up is Capricorn. If you're born between December 22nd and January 19th, then you are a Capricorn. Now, the addiction of a Capricorn is something good and also bad. Capricorns are addicted to their work. They're often described by their friends and family as workaholics. They work way too long and too hard, and they almost never take a day off or vacation. This means they never take a day off to take care of themselves. This can lead to things like fatigue and stress, as they're always working. But on the plus side, they're incredibly motivated. They don't dwell on things they're not doing and instead only look towards their goals and trying to achieve what they want. They often won't do much else other than work, they won't even work out or even sleep. Many work addicts include people like Ariana Huffington. Ariana Huffington was a work addict who never slept but now preaches how great sleep is. She says if you want to be successful, the number one thing you need to do is get more sleep. This may be true for many workaholic Capricorns who are not getting enough sleep. Next up we have Aquarius. If you're born between January 20th and February 18th, then you're an Aquarius. The one thing Aquarians are addicted to is the latest tech. Now, this is kind of similar to Libras who are addicted to their phones. But Aquarians are addicted to all the latest tech, whether it's computers, smartwatches, cell phones, or even something more futuristic than that. They likely drive or want to drive a new Tesla self-driving car. They're always checking out updates for the latest SpaceX launch and also love things like astrology and space exploration. They may be a bit of a geek and don't mind camping out to get that new iPhone or MacBook. Instead of Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande, they likely look up to people like Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. And the good thing about being addicted to technology is always knowing what's going on in the tech space. We all know that tech is a very lucrative and super helpful skill to have. And it also means they love discovering new things, including things which haven't even been discovered yet. And finally on the list of zodiac sign addictions, we have Pisces. If you were born between February 19th and March 20th, you're a Pisces. Now, the Pisces is interesting as it doesn't just have one addiction. People who are Pisces actually have many addictions which can change depending on their mood. For example, when they're feeling inspired and motivated, they'll become a hard worker and work too hard. They'll also skip on sleep too, but when they're in love, this will mean they're addicted to love. Or when they feel like they want to indulge, they can become addicted to junk food or watching way too much TV. Pisces' addictions can actually change day to day depending on their moods. This can be quite tough to keep up with, but on the plus side it means they're always doing something new and are never boring. And how good your eyes actually are. Okay, let's start with an easy one, level 1. As you can see on screen right now, there are 10 colors. 9 of them are the same, but there's one which is different. As this is the first test, I'm sure most people will get this one right. So find the one color on this test which is different from the rest. If you fail on just one of these, then you fail the entire level. But level 1 is pretty easy, so good luck. So this one is very simple, it was number 4 which is different. I'm sure you also got this one, which was number 8. And clearly this one was number 1. And finally that one was number 5. Now I hope you passed every single test on stage 1. But if you did, don't think you have superhuman eyes just yet. After all, 98% of people do actually pass this stage. The only people who don't pass it are those who are blind or colorblind. So if you didn't pass stage 1, then see a doctor. Okay, we've done the easy level 1, but now let's move on to level 2, which is normal. This one's not difficult, but it's also not easy, and it may take you a second to get the right color. The different color on this stage was number 5. And the different color on this stage was number 1. This one was number 4, I hope you got it right. And this one was lucky number 7. And finally we have number 2. Okay, did you get level 2 normal correct? If you got all of these right, then well done, you have healthy normal eyes. 57% of people get this one correct. But if you want to find out whether you're superhuman or not, continue on to the next level. Level 3 is hard and many people get this wrong. This first one on level 3 was number 2. This next one was 9. This one was 6. Wow, that was a hard one. The answer to that one was 7. And the final different color was 1. So that is level 3 completed. Now, if you got every stage on this level correct, then well done. Your eyes are much better than average, as only 30% of people get this far. But now it's time to move on to the final, level 4. This is the super hard level and only superhumans pass it. These colors may look identical, but number 4 was actually different. And if you look really carefully, the answer to this one was number 5. Looks like the answer to this one was number 3. And this one seems impossible, but it was actually number 7. And this final one is crazy difficult, but it was actually number 10. So if you guys made it this far and you got all of the sections to all of the levels correct, then well done, you are a superhuman. As I said at the beginning of this test, only 8% of people get this far. That means 92% of people are not superhumans, but you are. If you got this far, you may be what's called a tetrachromat. This means you have additional receptors in your eyes. Basically, this means you can see more shades of different colors than other people. And that's all down to how your eyes receive colors. There are ways to train your eyes to become better and see more colors, but your eyes are actually born with a certain amount of receptors. So really, whether you're a superhuman or not, it's down to genetics. But check out the poll in the top right corner and you can vote for how far you got. If you passed level 1, then your eyes are normal. If you passed level 2, then your eyes are pretty healthy. If you passed level 3, then your eyes are very good, better than average. And if you passed level 4, then you are a superhuman. Personally, I got to level 3, but comment down below what your level was. The 10 hardest choices ever. Coming in at number 10, we have money matters. So this question is all about many people's favorite thing, money. So there's 2 options to this question, and here it is. Would you rather instantly get $1 million or have a 50-50 chance of getting $100 million? This means if you go with option A, you'll definitely get $1 million. But if you go with option B, you have a 50% chance of getting nothing and a 50% chance of getting $100 million. This may surprise you or maybe not, depending on what one you picked. But most people actually go with the safe option of having $1 million. But what does what you picked say about you? If you picked option A and went for an instant $1 million, then this means you're very, very sensible. You don't like to live life on the edge and often don't take a lot of risks. You have high emotional intelligence as well. However, you may also have regrets, seeing as sometimes you don't take every opportunity that comes your way. If you went for option B, a 50-50 chance of getting $100 million, then this means you live life on the edge. You act on impulse, and sometimes this does pay off. However, sometimes your decisions in life can backfire. Around 60% of people go with option A on this question, and the rest go with option B. Comment below which one you picked. Next up is Sibling Saver. So, moving off money, this question is all about morals. So, first off, here's the situation. People are falling out of a hot air balloon. In total, there are 7 people falling. 5 of them are strangers and 2 are your brother and sister. So, here's the question. Would you A, save your brother and sister and let the other 5 people pass away? Or would you save the 5 random strangers and let your brother and sister pass away? Even if you don't have siblings, you can use your imagination for this question. So, did you know that 70% of people choose option A to save their own brother and sister, and 30% choose option B to save 5 strangers but have their brother and sister fall to their dooms? If you picked option A, then this means you're very loving and caring. You would do absolutely anything for your family, even things you wouldn't do normally on a day-to-day basis. However, you may also be selfish and somewhat cold. You may care very deeply for those that you know, but for strangers, you don't care about them as much. If you picked option B, then you're incredibly selfless. You're sometimes overly generous, sometimes even too much, and people may even describe you as a pushover. But you do have more morals than the average person. Which one of these options did you pick? Comment below. Next up is Mind Speaker. Nowadays it seems like everyone has an opinion and everyone needs to share it. So maybe this question won't be too hard for some people to answer. The question is, would you rather always speak your mind or never speak again? If you always speak your mind, this means you have to say everything you think. It could be an embarrassing thought about someone. For example, you may tell your crush you think they're pretty, even if you don't necessarily want to. Or if your friend asks you how they look in a dress, you'll have to be brutally honest and say they look bad if they do. However, if you never speak again, this means you're literally mute and cannot open your mouth to talk. According to polls, 80% of people would rather always speak their mind. This means they have to say everything they think no matter what the consequence is. Whereas 20% of people would prefer to just shut up and never speak again. If you decided to always speak your mind, then this means you're a very outgoing and confident person. You value other people and relationships and communication. However, sometimes you can be overly blunt and too honest. If you picked option B to never speak again, this means you really care about what others think of you. The worst thing you can imagine is offending someone else. And you're also incredibly kind to others, sometimes to a fault. Not only that, you may have a secret that no one else in your life knows. Next up is For Love Nor Money. 2 things everyone dreams of is getting the love of their life and also earning a good amount of money. But what about when you come down to the ultimate choice? So here's your question. Would you rather have infinite money or the perfect romantic partner? The results of this poll may actually surprise you. 60% of people would rather have their perfect romantic partner, whereas the remaining 40% would rather have infinite money. This may surprise some people as it seems everyone's so obsessed with money nowadays. I guess according to the results on this poll, money doesn't buy happiness. But what do your choices mean for you? If you went with option A, infinite money, then this means you're very materialistic. You also may lack some emotions and not care that much about other people. If you went with option B, then this means you're a very loving person. You value communication, friendships, and other people in general. But you may also be lonely and searching for that special someone. Next up is deaf or blind. So with money and love, you just had to pick between 2 things everyone wants. But here are 2 things no one wants. However, on this list, you still do have to choose between them. So here's the question, would you rather be deaf or blind? If you're blind, you'll never see again, and if you're deaf, you'll never hear again. Well, 20% of people would rather be blind, whereas 80% would rather be deaf. If you'd rather be blind, then this often means you're not very superficial, and it also means you may have an intense love of music. If you'd rather be deaf, then you can sometimes be seen as more logical. If you're deaf but not blind, you can still write words down and still communicate. Next up is Spider Dog. So this question is half funny and half dark, and it's all about animals. But they involve people's most favorite and least favorite animals. So here's the question, would you rather eat 2 spiders or take the life of 2 dogs? Did you know that 50% of people would eat 2 spiders and 50% of people would take 2 dogs' lives? This is quite surprising, but what does your choice mean for you? If you chose to eat the 2 spiders, then you're very selfless. You may also be quite tough and rugged as well. But what about if you chose option B, to take the life of 2 dogs? This often means you're totally unemotional and very cold. It can also show that you're selfish in some ways as well. And rather than being emotional, you're more logistic. Comment below which one you chose. Next up is working hard or hardly working. So from these questions before, it's clear people love money. But how would you prefer to get your money? Answer this question for me. Would you rather be born into a wealthy family or work hard for your money? If you're born into wealth, then you can just relax and you're already rich. But if you have to work for your wealth, this means you have to get up every day and really grind for your money. Did you know that 60% of people would rather be born into money, whereas 40% would rather work hard for their wealth? If you'd rather be born into wealth, this may mean you're a lazy person. It also can sometimes suggest a sense of entitlement. If you want to work hard for your money, then this means you support many old-fashioned values. You also know the true value of money and what it can do. Next up is money or fame. Today it seems everyone's obsessed with celebrities. If you ask a lot of kids what they want, they'll say money and fame. But what if you could only choose one of the two? So here's your question, would you rather be rich and unknown or poor and very famous? According to results, 70% would rather have money and be unknown, whereas 30% would rather be very famous but have no money. If you chose to have money but no fame, this means you're not superficial. It may also mean you're shy and don't want to draw attention to yourself. However, you also care about your health and prosperity and want the finer things in life. If you went with having no money yet fame, this means you're very superficial. And you also may have an ego and care what other people think. You love attention, and if people aren't looking at you, then this is a problem. Next up is high flyer or sailor. So this question is a bit nicer and easier. The question is, would you rather have a private jet or a private yacht? Obviously both are good and only very rich people can afford them. If you picked option A, a private jet, then this means you're quite selfish. You don't care much for the environment and you also care about status. You love showing off, and if something good happens to you, everyone has to know about it. But if you picked option B, having a private yacht, this means you like having fun. You also value friendships and enjoy sharing things. But if you picked the yacht, then you also value your own alone time too. Next up is looks or smarts. So every day we're consciously and subconsciously looking for partners. But in your partner, what do you look for? Looks or smarts? You might have to really think about this and your past relationships. Did you know that 70% of people actually pick smarts? That's right, according to 70% of people, they care more about intelligence than looks, whereas 30% care about how people look. If you chose that you care about looks more, this means you're very superficial. And if you picked option B to go for smarts, then this may mean you're very intelligent yourself.